Four-part chords represent the next level of density or harmonic sophistication past triads. So if triads are root 3, 5, four-part chords add some sort of a 7, but they're not all seventh chords. Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris. Today you're going to learn how to build four-part chords. And we're going to call them four-part chords because even though they all have a 7 in them, a root, a third, a fifth, and a 7, they're not seventh chords. Seventh chord, the term seventh chord, has come to largely refer to the dominant seventh chord, which is a very specific type of four-part chord. But we're not going to get into that. I'm going to catalog all these in a later video, but right now we're just going to learn how to construct them because I think it's really important to be able to build things and understand sort of the underlying mechanics of anything you learn on the guitar or as a musician in general, so you have a clear understanding of why things sound and work the way they do. Okay, four-part chords, let's get started. There's a lot to cover here. I'm going to go a little on the fast side because I'm going to show you how they're built through harmonizing, but then I want to go deeper into sort of the math of how they are built and how they exist. And so I want to focus on that. So we're going to go a little on the fast side, so hang on. We're going to be in the key of A here today. And if you've seen my video on how to harmonize scales, you'll understand what we're going to do. In that video, we took this scale, and instead of playing every note, we just played every other note from every point in the scale. Harmonizing, right? We just did all the triads in the key of A. All we're going to do now is add the next scale tone, right? So in other words, if every triad is root 3, 5, we're just going to add the next one in. This is going to be a 7. Root to third to fifth to 7. It's the next one if you skip every other note. Root 3, 5, there it is, 7. Okay, so I'm going to do that for every note in the scale. I'm not going to give you all the fret numbers because what I want you to do is go find it, but I also want to get to this other thing that I want to talk about. But we have to sort of uncover this methodology first. Here's our first one. That's off of A. Next note in the scale is B. Next note in the scale is C sharp. Next note in the scale is D. Next note in the scale is E. Next note in the scale is F sharp. Next note in the scale is G sharp. So those are the harmonized four-part chords. I'm going to tab all this out so you can get the tabs there and go review the whole thing, so don't worry about going too fast. What I want to get to is this next thing, which is we're going to pull out my old crazy hand and we're going to use it as sort of an abacus here. We know what triads are. They're the root, the third, and the fifth. We now know we're adding the 7. Now we're going to grab one of these. This is a pencil, and we're going to look at each one of these distances. Each one of these distances is called a third. Now they're not all the same distance, but they have the same architecture, and here's how that works. This is the root of the scale. Here's the second note of the scale. We're not using that, but we are using the third, so this is 1, 2, 3 notes away. Here's the third. We're not going to use the fourth, but we are going to use the fifth, so this is 1, 2, 3 notes away. Here's the fifth. We're not going to use the sixth, but we are going to use the 7. This is 3 notes away. So these are all thirds. This is a third, this is a third, this is a third. They have the same architecture. Now they don't have the same distance because if you think about this scale, it's built up of whole steps and half steps. Some of those distances are going to be shorter because some are half steps and some are whole steps. So when you start going every other note, you run into two different intervals. The major third, which is 2 whole steps, and the minor third, which is a step and a half. So even though these are all thirds. They're not the same distance apart, but they're the same architecture. If that's true, that means this is a triad, a regular old triad, and this must be a regular old triad as well. So 4-part chords are 2 triads stuck together. Build a triad off the root and build a triad off the third. That's the core architecture, right? Let's bear it out and see if it's true. So, there's our A 4-part chord. Here's the A major triad. Now we start a triad on the third. What's that? You can go find out yourself, but I'm going to give you a clue. This is a C sharp minor. A major, C sharp minor. So we have an A chord and a C sharp minor chord. There's our A chord here and our C sharp minor chord here. If you strip away one more level of complexity and just say, this is an A with a triad built off the third. In other words, whatever target note you're looking at, whatever scale you're in, you build your 4-part chord by playing the root and then building another triad off of the third. This chord is really just an A and a C sharp minor chord. Let's check that out and see if it's true. I'm going to go up an octave, root, 3, 5, 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's check it out. Oh, it looks so easy to see here. Root, 3, 5, 7. Root 3, 5, and this is C sharp minor. Root 3, 5 of C sharp minor. If you don't recognize this as a C sharp minor, there is one here, A, B, C sharp minor. Here's our big old bar chord, the top 3 strings. It's an A with a C sharp minor chord, right? C sharp minor with an A in the bass. That's an A major 7 chord. Are we sure about that? Is that math going to hold true? Here's another C sharp here. E, D, C sharp minor. Strip away all that bar chord nonsense. Here's our minor triad. Here's an A in the bass. A major 7. Here's another C sharp up here. B, C sharp, C sharp minor, because this is major, minor, A in the bass, A major 7. Hang on, we're going to do it one more time from the B now. Here's our first degree. Here's our second degree. So given our little abacus thing, we know that this is a B triad of some sort. It's a B minor. And that this is the triad on top, right? Does that look familiar? It's a D chord. D, F sharp, A. So what I mean to say is that every D chord with a B in the bass is a B minor 7. Here's a D chord. D triad. Here's a B right here. B minor 7. Okay? Here's a D chord over here. D. Right? Here's a B in the bass. B minor 7. Okay? Here's a D right here. Major, D major, root position triad. Here's a B in the bass. B minor 7. Okay, if your mind isn't blown, mine certainly is. Like every time I see that, I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? We're learning how to build chords. We're learning how the architecture works. And we're learning what the impact of that architecture is. You're a chord builder. You are a builder of chords rather than someone who just learns a chord and it's sitting here and it looks like this and you're like, I don't know what that is. It's just like there's a clump of fingers here and then I glue this thing on and it sounds really cool. What we know now is how to build the chords, why they build the way they do. Go forth. Build every chord in this key. As a 4-part chord, grab a pencil, write down the letters. What are the letters? What are the chords? How do you spell them? And then figure out what they are. Okay, there it is. That's how you build 4-part chords. And specifically, we're focused on the major scale, and we're using that as sort of the ruler. But those mechanics survive any scale that you come across, right? That's how to build that 4-part architecture. And that idea of 2 stacked triads is a very good way of looking at it because it simplifies the concept, right? So, if you need any help, I've tabbed it all out. All the examples today are tabbed out. Those are on my Patreon page, so go over there and grab them if you need them. And any support there, of course, is greatly appreciated. I hope this helps. When you become a chord builder, you're sort of independent of having to remember what the dots look like and was it my pinky or whatever. Like, you're more sort of constructing them from the mathematical reality of how they are constructed. Anyway, I hope this is really helpful, and I'll see you next time.